Welcome to another episode of Haunt Ventures with Melissa and Jason. So we're setting up for the event on Saturday. It's going to be at the Atria, that's downtown Oshawa. It's going to start at 8 o'clock. It's got a haunted house upstairs. It's a bar with live bands. Drink, have fun. It's going to be great. Come on! I am setting up all the pneumatic props. We're mostly going to just use air cannons. We're going to pack 200 square feet with as much stuff as we can possibly get in there and scare the shit out of people. I don't know about you, but I freaking hate working with pneumatics. I hate working with boo boxes. I hate working with pressure pads, hooking all that stuff up. It just seems so confusing. I'm going to first start by talking about what I'm using here to power the props. This is a boo box. It has two plugs on the top to plug in, right? And it has an output 1, first plug, and an output 2. Right here, it's got the record, and it's got the output 1 record for this plug, and the output 2 record for this plug. So when I push this button, you'll see in a second here, it controls this one, and this button controls this one. The trigger, which could be a motion sensor, or could be a pressure pad. So I've got a pressure pad hooked to this, and right here it's got ground, 12 volt and in, and all I've got hooked up, and it seems to be working for me, is one of the wires hooked into the ground and one of the wires hooked into the in, and that is running back to a pressure pad. This pressure pad is hooked to here. This one is hooked to one air cannon. This one, ground 2, or line 2, is hooked to this air cannon. When someone steps on this, it's going to trigger this box to set off these air cannons at different times. So someone comes along, they step on this pressure pad, it's going to trigger the boo box. Let's talk a little bit about recording into a boo box. It's pretty easy. So here you have the record button, it says right there, and this is the line, the output 1 right here, which is for this, whatever's plugged into this one. You can see it's output 1, the 2, the 2. So there's 1 and 2. So we're gonna hit record. It's real time. So basically, when I hit record, that means when someone steps on the pressure pad or walks in front of the motion sensor, it's recording. So this prop is started. They've stepped on it, it's waiting a couple seconds. I'm gonna say, boom, let this one go off. And then I'm gonna say, boom. Sometimes it's also good to let the record button stay on after you've programmed it, and then hit the stop button, maybe 10 or 15 seconds after. And what this does is it prevents the props from going off immediately after they've gone off. You're a haunter, so you know when you go through a walk-through haunted house, or maybe at the convention, and you try to set those props off, you see it go off, and you're like, I wanna see it, I wanna see it. And what that actually does is screws up your customer flow. Having this delay after the prop has set going off doesn't allow that prop to go off for, you know, maybe a minute or 2 minutes or something like that. So then people just give up and keep walking through, and it's a new scare for the next group coming through. Another really important thing to remember when you're using an air prop is to make sure the dial, the pressure that's coming out of that hose, is not really more than like 75, maybe like 60, 75. That's really high. If it's up in 100 or something like that, that's actually very dangerous. So you want to really avoid this. Consult with prop professionals, whoever you're buying your props from. Ask them what they'd recommend for setting the air pressure gauge on your air cannons. And if you are going to make an air cannon yourself, make sure that the air releases out of the tank, so that, for example, when you disconnect this, the air is not held in here, because if you drop this or this breaks off somehow and this just shoots out, this becomes a dangerous, like, bomb almost. I'll give you a quick look at how an air cannon's made. You've got, you know, your line in, obviously, from the air compressor. You've got a gauge that you can set the pressure on, and up or down. You've got a solenoid where that's where the power is running to the boo box. That's what releases the air. You have a one-way valve that goes into the tank, right? And all the fittings, obviously, that fit these things together. the stepping up and stepping down on the sizes. And then you have a nice big long cannon that shoots out. Something short is going to be like a little blast, but nice big long cannon. This is like a little mini one right here. Nice, fits inside of like a nice tight area if you don't have the space, but it's not as loud of a blast. It's like more of like a pop pop. This one's more like a bang. Thanks for watching this episode of Haunt Ventures. If you like this, please like it. And if you don't like it, come on!